Lit Happens, your celebration of the literary arts here in Saskatchewan. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Treena Wynes. So Treena is a registered social worker with over 15 years of experience working with young people. Her newest book is called Am I the Only One? Struggling Being a Teen. She has won High Plains and Moonbeam Awards for this book. It's her second book, and she's working on a third. But today we'll focus on Am I the Only One? Treena, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me here today.
So let's start by, why don't you tell me a little bit about what has led you through this long career working with young people to wanting to put together a book for young people?
Well, I suppose professionally as a social worker, working with young adults, we'll say, for as many years as I have. That was either through child protection, a child and youth advocate, as well as a counselor. I was listening to so many messages that they were saying, and what I kept hearing through the different youth and from diverse backgrounds was that whatever they were going through, they always felt like they were the only one, that nobody else in the world was dealing with this situation, and they felt a lot of isolation in regards to that. So that is what prompted me to write the book, because I kept hearing stories, and a lot of them were the same. There was a lot of similarities. Of course, there were some unique aspects to some of them, but definitely I felt that I needed to let the kids know that, no, what you're going through, I know, me personally know many other youth that are going through this, but I mean, just even across the world, youth generally are going through a lot of the same issues just because of the difficult life stage that they're going through.
And I think sometimes we find that we can make steps forward even when we know that our story isn't in isolation, that if we can read somebody else's story or see something that resonates as something that's going on in our own lives, it can help us to move forward.
Exactly, and I mean, me as only one person, I can only get in contact with, so many kids, and that was one of the things that I felt that the book was important in, is because it is, out there for really accessible to anybody, and maybe it will, resonate with a youth that may be in a very difficult time, that they may be even contemplating, about their life or continue living, because certainly that is going on right now in the world. Mm-hmm. And if it saves a life or helps somebody get through whatever difficult issue that they're facing, it was worth it.
And you used the word accessible just a few seconds ago.
Yes.
And I found when I opened this book, it's very accessible, the way that it's laid out. So do you want to tell us a little bit about why you chose to write the book in this way?
Well, actually, what's funny is that when I first started writing the book, I found that I was writing towards the parents and caregivers. And then when I looked at the library or the bookstores, I found that there was not very many books that were geared to the youth themselves. So then I rewrote the whole book, and using the language that teens, could better relate with. And I've worked with teens, so I know their language, and I also know that they don't like to be lectured to. They also like to get information in little nuggets, because they're, the attention span, I mean, especially now with all the distractions we have in the world. So I wanted to make that information valuable, informative, but manageable.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it's written for young people, for young adults, but with other people that are going through some difficulties, maybe a bit of anxiety, there are tips and help for people of all ages in this book.
Absolutely. Like with this world now, and I talk about the social media part of it, how it's now, a major part of their lives as youth, that the pressures that they have now, like with all the information that people are getting, it's such a speed, the rate of, the speed that we're absorbing all this information, is that there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And so, of course, if you're not able to cope with that, your mental health certainly could be, at risk. So in regards to depression and anxiety. So I do talk about that for sure.
And you've indicated some ways that some coping skills, some coping mechanisms that might be helpful for some people, including a fill in the blank reflection area at the back, which I thought was a really interesting way, because then you're not just always looking at the outside, you're also looking at the interior as well.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there are external pressures for sure, but there's also the internal pressures that we also, and the conflicts that we also have in ourselves, as well as I want them to, I talk about our needs, like our needs as human beings, and, you know, the need to connect, the need to belong, the need for love, the need for power and control in our lives, freedom and fun. And because we have these needs, is that it drives our behaviors. And then however the choices we make or those behaviors, you know, there'll be outcomes because of that. So I really want them to make a tie-in to all of those types of things.
And you give concrete ideas in here for self-care and things that might help, different things to try at least.
Right, yes. And another thing that is also important is that I also have little mini stories in there about 3 characters that are going through, you know, some really, like, they're not easy problems. And also too, because of the family dynamics too, makes it even more difficult in order to sort of resolve these things that they're facing. And so because of the stories, anybody, honestly, I think anybody really can relate to those stories. But at the same time, because you're learning a lot about that character, then you can go, oh, I can see maybe why, you know, that's driving that behavior, or she's making those choices, or she feels that way.
Well, I think it's wonderful this is something that seems like something that would come out of a big city somewhere, and, you know, from downtown Toronto in a big medical office. So it's really wonderful to see that you've written that from here in Saskatoon, that hopefully will reach people all over the country. And
I hope so too. And the thing is that I really hope, like when we talked about being accessible, I would really like to see it in schools or school libraries or public libraries, because, you know, teens only have so much money and they're going to maybe spend it on a self-improvement book. So that's why I think having it available to them for free really would be a good thing.
And you do have something that you offer for free. You said that you also have a blog that you offer support for people as well.
Right, and I guess maybe the blog it does provide helpful information, but I think it's also a part where, or a place for me to do my own self-reflecting, and it's a way for me to connect with people outside the world, and I'm a communicator naturally, so it's just another vehicle for me to communicate and to connect, and yeah, just maybe, you know, maybe somebody out there will connect as well and relate to that and enjoy that information.
And where can people find your book?
So my book is on Amazon. It's Indigo on their website, as well as Nicholsworth Publishing, that on their website. Also available on my website, so that's treenawynes.ca.
Wonderful. Well, Treena, we're out of time for today. It always goes by
I know
so
it does,
quickly.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I'm Danica Lorer, and this has been Lit Happens, your celebration of the literary arts in Saskatchewan. You can find past episodes by going to YouTube and searching for Shaw TV Saskatoon. You can find me on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like to talk to me about your own work, a book that's coming out, or some other writing that you're doing, you can email me at danicalore@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.